There we are. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. There is only two of us in the country right now, so it's me and Billy Bob this week. We've had a couple of days off, which seems like an absolute age since we were last live, and it was only 2 nights ago. However, we are live tonight, we are live tomorrow, Friday, and of course, Match Day live again on Saturday. So you will get your fix of the Toon Review now for the rest of the week, undoubtedly, with me and Billy. Of course, we've got the preview show tomorrow night. Friday night will be TTR Friday. And, of course, Match Day Live. We have a new member, Stu Lad. Stu Lad's doing some work for us behind the scenes. Thank you for your email as well, Stu. He's calculating all the player ratings for the current season that we've done. And he's going to let us know for the big season review. We'll have all of the averages for the players, which should be really interesting, Billy.
100%. Certainly with the way Longstaff's kind of, he's had the biggest extremes off, I'd say. Minus 20s and stuff, and up to
God, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I think it's probably going to be the lowest, but it'll be interesting to see how the team kind of measures up. Who's going to be our player of the year? Who's going to be the biggest disappointment of the year? That kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think we've got to tell with the marks.
Listen, it's going to be fantastic when we do the end of season review. It always is, especially when we sort of look back on the season, the highs and the lows, and of course, there's been quite a few of each this season, more lows than I'd like. But listen, we are finishing on an absolute high right now. Now, as usual, guys, please don't forget to stick a like on the show if you do enjoy it. The usuals apply if you do are new to the channel. Please come and subscribe. We are well on the way to 30,000 now. Absolutely so. So thank you very much and welcome to all our new subscribers. And of course, you can become a member by hitting the join button just underneath us if you want to support the channel that way. And of course, you can donate by super chat, by the $sign at the bottom of the live comments. And you will guarantee your comment to be read out on the show. Now, I know a lot of people are commenting already, Billy, about the overlap interview with Eddie Howe. I personally haven't seen that yet. I'm going to watch that later on tonight. Looking forward to that. But by all accounts, it was very good.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a very, very concentrated man. He's a one-track mind man. Everything's football with him, even his home life and things like that. Very forensic in what he does. I've kind of forgot all about that about him. Some of the mistakes he's made this year, but it's not for the want of trying. It's all about hard work and really, really good interview. Gary Neville's brilliant now. I mean, that's two we've seen in the past couple of weeks with Anthony Gordon and him. Yeah. Both are outstanding. Looked like they really got on as well. He spoke about his early career as a manager as well. So 45 minutes of real enjoyment. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I think we said the other week after the Gordon interview, didn't we, that Gary Neville does these very, very well, and I think he's probably found his niche, if you like. He goes on punditry and he commentates, but I think when he does the interviews, the sit down one-on-ones, because I used to enjoy the players' careers as well. Like highlights of matches, and he did it that way. And I think he comes across very well, and I think he's very well respected in the football community, to be honest, because he seemed to have a good relationship with Gordon. He certainly did with everybody else I've seen, and the clips I've seen of the one with Eddie Howe, they're always sort of smiling and having good conversation. So I think he's done really well. But I'm looking forward to watching it. But obviously the build-up comes to the Brighton game. It's going to be a tough game. Obviously, we'll touch on that more tomorrow night. But Brighton have had a very weird season. I think it's fair to say they were up there. Certainly last season as well, they were up there, and then they sort of disappeared down. Wow, Billy!
I've just seen,
Francisco. Hope you're well, my man. Long time no right. Wishing you health, happiness, and blessings. 3 more games and a real possibility of Europa League. Love you all. Go the Toon. Indeed. Francisco, it's been a long time. It's been too long, my friend. But I'm hoping you're okay out there in Costa Rica. It is Costa Rica, isn't it? Puerto Rico, yes. I keep getting those two mixed up for some strange reason, but there you go. But anyway, nice to see you're in touch, my man, and don't leave it too long next time. Now, what I do want to say is, obviously, for the Brighton game, again, 3 points is very, very necessary, but obviously Man United's absolute spanking at Crystal Palace, Billy, which we haven't been on air since. that was a spanking that I saw coming. A few Man United fans did as well, to be fair to them. But the way they're going on about this injury crisis is absolutely laughable because, I put on sort of, a tweet out the other night saying, welcome to our world, because it just seems like everything that happens to Man United, it only happens to them and can't happen to any other club. Yet we've been through absolute hell with injuries this season and still have.
Yeah, I mean, they're having to play Casemiro as centre half, and he's literally down tools. He's not interested in doing it at
It's
all.
pathetic, isn't it? Yeah.
He's waltzing around the pitch, just literally walking around the pitch, doing nothing. He was totally out of his depth against Palace. I hope he's still there for when we play them, because we'll tear them to pieces with him in centre half, especially if he's next to Johnny Evans, who, although a good player 10 years ago, his legs have gone. Palace outworked them. They wanted it more.
Well, apparently Johnny Evans failed. I don't know whether you've seen this, Billy, but apparently Johnny Evans failed a fitness test before the game, but still played. Now, I've never heard of that happening before, but obviously the fact that they had no centre backs. But I mean, the Manchester United, they claim to be this big and mighty football club. Well, surely they've got an academy to pick from.
Well, they have. I think Cam Wilson, who played in the Liverpool game, I think he's injured as well. But I've got to say, Johnny Evans, even though he failed a fitness test, was certainly better than Casemiro was. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell Evans wasn't fit, were you? When certainly the second goal when Mateta took him on, he just disappeared into the night sky.
It's not just the injuries that they're kind of moaning about; they're even moaning about VAR now.
Well,
they wouldn't be in the top 10 if it wasn't for VAR.
Exactly.
They had a legitimate goal. Well, it was a definite foul. There's no way in God's earth they were going to allow it to stand. And Goldbridge's kind of reaction to it, and all the Man United fans on social media are making out it was some kind of miscarriage of justice.
Yeah, but Billy, they forget that challenge by Onana against Wolves, was it, at Old Trafford?
There's lots of them. There's two against Bournemouth.
There's loads of them. Exactly. And they forget when they get the decisions, don't they? But my God, I mean, it's typical. It's typical of Manchester United. And they've left themselves in a real struggle now, because with Chelsea hitting form, we've hit form. They are the team that could end up finishing 8th, and I think that's goodbye to Ten Hag if that does happen, to be honest. And I won't be sad to see Ten Hag go. I think he's an arrogant, horrible little man. I really do. But then again, once you get associated with Manchester United, you suddenly, I don't know, it's weird.
Well, if they lose to Arsenal and we beat Brighton, I think we only need a point to make sure we're above them, which is something we've never done before.
Yep, absolutely. Jens, thank you for your super chat. I've been thinking about the matches against Luton, Everton and Bournemouth. 3 points in total. Imagine if we had 12 and 15 from them. Thoughts? Well, we spoke about this before, Jens, and obviously it is, it's very hypothetical now. We can all look back and think, oh, if only we did this, if only we did that. Listen, unfortunately, it is hypothetical, and we can look back and think, yes, if we got those points, where we'd be now is very different. But also you could look at the fact that, if we hadn't had the injuries, where would we be now? You've got to, there's a lot of factors in this. If we didn't have Tonali suspended, where would we be now? And what sort of season would Tonali have had if he didn't have all that pressure on his shoulders for the first, 12 games that he played for us? So, there's a lot of things we can look back on, and we'll touch on everything in the season review when we do that once the season's done and dusted. But, listen, it's all about the next 3 games now. It's all about being positive, and it's all about going out there and, doing a job. And it starts with Brighton on Saturday. Kieran, thank you for your super chat. He says, remember when Eddie Howe sent out a B team against Man United and Newcastle still won? Absolutely. I mean, they really did. They looked absolutely awful. And you know what? If we play to our capabilities at Old Trafford, we will beat them, because they simply don't. And it's fair to say that they don't have the strength and depth there at the minute. They are on the bare bones like we've been. We're getting players back now, just at the right time, in my opinion. And we can go against Manchester United. And I thoroughly believe we can win convincingly there, Billy.
Yeah, especially if Bruno Fernandes is still out. I mean, he's their talisman without any shadow of a doubt. Kobe Mainoo's going for the same thing that Lewis Molly did before he got injured. Maybe too many games as such a young man. He looked awful against Palace, to be fair. Got run around by all of the Palace midfield. There's no depth there, is there? And considering they spent all that money, you'd expect a bit of depth. I know they've got a few injuries, but Yeah, they spent billions of pounds on players over the past 10 years.
I mean, well, that's my point, Billy. They still had, Anthony, who was on the pitch on Monday night. What's he? It's apparently worth 85 million. They just look powder puff up front. Hoyland for me isn't the answer for them, but I don't really care. I think it's quite funny. But if we're being quite serious about football tonight, then yeah, they have got problems and they are very powder puff. But we've been there. We've suffered a lot this season because of injuries. But Man United weren't sort of saying to us, "Oh, unfortunately, they've got injuries." To be fair to Mark Goldbridge, he has since come out and said, Newcastle have had terrible injuries this season, and if they didn't have the injuries, he did say that we'd be in the top 4. So he does talk sense when he doesn't lose the plot a little bit when he's watching Manchester United. So I think everybody knows, Billy. I think we're quite sure, really, if we didn't have the problems that we did this season, we would have been in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think even if it was just if it was Nick Pope that remained fit, I think we'd probably be in the top 4 now. Joe Linton, if we'd have had him more available, we'd definitely be in the top 4 now.
Yeah.
I mean, if we didn't have any injuries at all, we'd probably be pushing the top 2. You don't know, do you? It's hypothetical, I know, but without the injuries and the amount of games and not rotating and things like that, I mean, not all of this is down to injuries. A lot of it's down to injuries caused by over fatigue.
Absolutely, yeah.
You've got to look at the manager for keep playing the same player. The 3 games on the trot in 5 days where he didn't change the 11. Everton, Spurs, and Milan. There are lots of things he did wrong, but I think he'll learn by that. I think definitely he will. I don't think it'll happen again.
No, absolutely not. We are coming on to Callum Wilson, by the way, in a second. I've seen a couple of people put about the rumours going around. We'll speak about him in a minute. I just want to touch on Borussia Dortmund, Billy, and what their manager had to say, about Newcastle United, because he said that he was very complimentary about Newcastle United in his interview and how, Borussia Dortmund had the group of death. And that it was an extremely difficult game away at Newcastle that he felt was the turning point in that group for them. And it was when he realised that they could go on to big things in the Champions League because they won at Newcastle. I mean, that's a mighty compliment to pay.
Well, looking back at the Champions League campaign, there was no doubt in my mind that Borussia Dortmund were the best side in our group. No doubt about it.
Yeah,
they're the only team really that we couldn't get laid glove on really, even in 2 games. I know we hit posts and last gasp saves and things like that. But as a team, I think they were better than us in both the games, if I'm perfectly honest. Just too much experience, too much. I don't know. They just don't give the ball away, do they? I think that PSG against Dortmund. I think it was a definite. You could tell Dortmund would beat them. I think PSG are a team of individuals. Borussia Dortmund are an actual team, and
they are, and we know the PSG didn't really deserve, let's be honest, to be where they were because of what happened with that penalty. It would have been very different circumstances had that not been given. And listen, I'm chuffed to bits for Dortmund. I really am, and I hope they go on and win it because they've come from a very difficult group. They've had not the best of seasons in the Bundesliga, if we're honest, but they are, they missed out. In the last minute, last season was horrific for them, the way they missed out on the title on the final day. That hurt them a lot. But to bounce back and get to the Champions League final is pretty impressive. Nobody was touching Leverkusen this season in the league. It's a freak season for Leverkusen, although I'm really pleased about that. However, I think next season you may see a very, very strong Dortmund because I think the likes of Sancho, they could re-sign him, Billy, which will be very interesting. I think he'll leave Manchester United in the summer. Hats off to them. They've been absolutely brilliant and probably one of the best teams in Europe this season in the Champions League. They've played some excellent football. They've got some very, very, very talented players. You look at Daniel Marlin, who's been linked with us a couple of times, and a lot of Newcastle fans have said, why don't we try and get him in this summer? So they've got options there without a shadow of a doubt. But we will now turn our attention to Callum Wilson because I think this has pissed me and you off. We were talking before the show. Now, Callum Wilson was due to give or do a podcast for a lot of fans. I'd signed up to it as well for him and Shola Amiobi. It didn't happen. It was called off at the last minute. And I think it was generated by in the nose again, shall we say, that Callum Wilson has a hamstring injury. Now, for one, Newcastle United have not once come out and said that Callum Wilson is injured. We may get a very different story at Eddie Howe's press conference on Friday. However, there's nothing to indicate that Callum Wilson is injured. And I think this has caused a bit of uproar, Billy, certainly on social media, saying, let's just get rid of him. He's a waste of time. Very unfair coming to Callum Wilson saying he's injured again when we don't actually know that that's the case. And personally, I don't think he is injured. I think there's other reasons that podcast was called off. I mean, if he's got a hamstring injury, it wouldn't stop him doing a podcast. So it's very strange, Billy. And once again, some people who think they know it all, who run YouTube channels, who run Twitter accounts, think they know it all and think that Callum Wilson's injured when there's been, as usual, there's been nothing from the club. And until there is something from the club, that's when we'll talk about it, if it happens. But it hasn't happened.
Faceless and baseless rumours for clicks and likes and subscribes, basically. It's not the first time it's happened this year, and it won't be the last.
Yeah.
We've already had the rumours of back early in the season that caused Bruno to go on social media and voice his discontent. Been linked with a move to Barcelona on a basis of a barbecue that didn't happen.
Yeah.
People have got to understand that these social media tweets or YouTube shows that are erroneous do get back to the players, and it can put them in discontent, like it did Bruno. And with Wilson, it's basic shit stirring. Nobody knows for sure. Lawrence said he was in the training photos today. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. He played well Saturday. He's got a job to do for us till the end of the season. And if at the end of the season he decides to go elsewhere or we decide to sell him, then I'll go with our good wishes, because while he's been fit, he's been a fantastic striker for us.
Well, yeah.
And he's still got a job to do for us. So, we've got 3 games to go.
Absolutely.
If we can win all 3, we could finish 5th. So he's still got a massive job to do for Newcastle United, and he's still a Newcastle United player. So while he's a Newcastle United player, we should get behind him and support him.
Yeah. Over 1,000 watching tonight already, Billy, which is absolutely fantastic. Please do subscribe if you're new, bottom right-hand corner. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight on this Wednesday night. Look, I think, listen, some players say they don't look at social media. I think they all look at social media, to be honest. I think that's in their egos to look at social media when things are going well, particularly. And I just think if players like that, we know it happened to Joe Linton. Remember when Joe Linton wasn't having a great time, and the people were attacking him personally on a personal level. Now, we've never done that. Yes, we were critical of Joe Linton, very much so, for his footballing performances. But as a man, as a person, you don't do that. And when people are sort of criticising Callum Wilson as well on social media, it sort of makes me laugh, because I think you really don't know anything. And we're very proud of this channel to say that we don't start any rumours up about players. And somebody had a go at me the other day, Billy, on one of the, I think it was the Elise video I did, and say, there's nothing linking us to Elise, when you go on the news channels and you'll read about Elise linked with Newcastle all over the place, which is why I do the daily news. It's only media links. Right, I'm not saying it. You're not saying it. The channel's not saying it. These are media links, and we talk about them and see what people are interested in. But we don't come out and say, Newcastle United are definitely interested or 100% talking to Elise or anything like that. We don't do that. We wait until the club announces before we talk about anything concrete. Of course, you can talk about rumours and what's in the papers and what's written online. That's what fans do. That's what generates conversation, right? But to come out and say things that you think you know but you don't, just for clicks and likes, it doesn't work like that. We're too old in the tooth on this channel now to put any clickbait up. We don't do that. We just put headlines up saying, Elise linked with Newcastle. But if you look at the headline, it was followed by a question mark. That's it. It's a question. Are they linked with, going off the media reports? And then you ask the fans what they think about that as well. And are you interested in Elise? And, there was several media reports on Tuesday linking us with the player.
Well, our transfer shows are all based on proper media links. We don't just make them up. Mm-hmm. We don't just pull them out of our hat, pull them out of our backside. They are linked through media. And if they're not linked by media, we don't do them. And we've had people in the chat, our great subscribers and viewers, have said, "Can you do so and so?" Well, not if they're not linked, no, because we believe in doing things right. And when we do transfer links, we talk about what they might bring to Newcastle United. We look at what they've done this season, what they did last season. None of it's kind of saying, "This is coming. Welcome to Joe Blogs. We're really looking forward to him playing for us. Welcome to the club," like other channels have done. So we do keep it real here. I think, most channels do these days. I think too many people have been caught out before by it, but there are still ones that still do it, unfortunately.
Well, there is, but I mean, there is some brilliant Newcastle United fan channels
100%.
out there. There really is, and we know of the ones. We're very good friends with some of them, and we will continue that. But I haven't got any time for people who just make stuff up just to try and get extra subscribers. It's ridiculous, and I don't know what they want to achieve from that, because I mean, we've got Gav says there's some absolute clowns who give you shit, does my head in. Keep it up, guys. Love this channel. Like I said before, we're too old in the tooth now. When Billy joined this channel, right, a while ago, a good while ago now, me and Billy got some horrific personal abuse, right? I mean, awful personal abuse on social media, and it still goes on to this day. There's still accounts that will say awful stuff about us, about my illness, about Billy's weight and everything, and it's ridiculous. We just let it go over our heads now, because it's words on a screen at the end of the day, and these people have just got sorry little lives, and we know that, and we don't give them any time of day now. I certainly don't react to it. I just report them and get on with it and think, get out and have a life, for God's sake. It's just, it's pathetic. And then, Anthony, you're right. Some people do, but the thing, the problem with this is you get a lot of people who will use external sites to create messages, Billy, on and message themselves on obviously on Twitter. And then, sometimes they get found out, and, creating rumors and false reports and stuff like that. And it really makes you laugh. I've had it done to myself, a couple of years ago, but now I just laugh at it. I really do, really laugh at it. But the thing is, I just hope that Callum Wilson is fit, Billy, because like you say, he looked very fit against Burnley, didn't he? And he looked very positive and very, very passionate, roughing up the defenders again. The old Callum Wilson, if we like, who we were saying for ages, if we can get that old Callum Wilson back before the end of the season, then it will benefit Newcastle United. And, I have a feeling that Eddie might just turn out the same side again on Saturday and go with Isak and Wilson again, because once that clicked, they're excellent. And I think, I hope Callum Wilson is fit. I don't want to see him injured, because he is, whatever we say about his injury record, when he's on the pitch like that, he is a danger.
It's a massive asset to us. No one scores an amount of goals in the Premier League without being a massive asset. He's a fantastic striker. He might be over the top now, slightly over the hill, on his way downwards, but he still scores goals, and he's scored 2 goals in his past 2 games. Outstanding player. And if he can get the 2 of them on the pitch at the same time with that similar kind of formation we played against Burnley last weekend, I think we'll beat Brighton quite easily. Something Eddie Howe mentions about actually in his overlap interview is he doesn't want to be restricted to one formation. He wants to be able to change things. He wants to be able to, be unpredictable. He wants to be proactive. Yeah. And by doing what he did last Saturday, that was being proactive. It was a fantastic choice to make that kind of formation for Burnley. And I think Brighton, although better at it, are very similar to the way Burnley play. They are better. Obviously, they've been in the Premier League longer. But, yeah, I'd like to see Callum Wilson, because he's a menace. He'll keep Lewis Dunk and whoever's playing at the back for Brighton honest all day long. And while he's doing that, Alexander Isak could be running into space and making trouble for them. So, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Wilson is the first photo in the training gallery for this week. So there you go. I don't think he's injured. Janos says media links are clickbait. They're all at it. No clicks, no monies. Take it all with a pinch of salt. Well, we always say that on the transfer shows, Billy, doesn't he? I mean, when Alex puts the stats up for the player, he always says, and take this with a huge pinch of salt. Because some of the players we're linked with, we kind of look and say, oh, my God, there's no chance of this guy coming. But I did say in the Elise video, Billy, that we don't know how much Newcastle United have got to spend. The media will always, the likes of, who was it, the idiot one who thinks he knows our budget all the time. No, he writes for the, what's his name, man? He's a newspaper writer.
Oliver Howe?
No, the other one.
Miguel Delaney?
No. I can't think of his name. It's
Luke Edwards.
That's him, yes, Luke Edwards. He always seems to know what our budget is, and turns out that he's never right. I think he's tried the last, 3 transfer windows to say how much we've got to spend, and he's never been right once. So who knows what we've got to spend in the window? And I said that, what's to say we don't go and say, right, there's the release clause for Elise. There you go. There's the 60 million quid. Who's to say we can't? We don't know what Newcastle United have coming in at the minute because they've got all sorts of sponsors coming in, and we will never know. And we're never privy to that. So you just don't know. And Eddie Howe is certainly, and I mentioned this as well, Billy, Eddie's not going to come out and say, oh, we've got an absolute war chest. Because as soon as we go to another club and want a player, they'll remember those comments and think, right, we'll double the price. They do it already.
Yeah,
they do that already with Newcastle tax. So they'll obviously use that comment from Eddie Howe and think, right, they've got a war chest, let's bump the price up. But it does, he's not going to say that.
We've got Adidas money coming in. We've got Champions League money for this year going in. There's probably going to be players at the end of the contract that will add on to the spending money as well, the wage bill that we can kind of increase again. So nobody knows what we've got. Cello also, their money starts kicking in this year, as Nick just said there.
Yeah,
lots and lots of money coming into the club, and players potentially going out as well. I mean, looks like Miggy could be on his way in the summer. Other players that have surplus to requirements probably be going as well. If we can get rid of them, we've got the players like Fraser. If Southampton come up, will Southampton be signing Ryan Fraser? Hopefully, so there is money coming in. Hopefully, we can kind of sign 2 or 3 players of a cracking nature, And this is another thing that Eddie Howe alludes to in the overlap is he doesn't want to sign players that are already there. He wants to buy players that are not quite there yet, so he can get them for cheaper and then make them into players that are there.
Which is exactly what Dougie Freedman is brilliant at as a director of football. Yeah. We've seen that with Elise, we've seen it with Eze, we've seen it with a few others at Palace, and that's what he can do. So everybody moaning about Dougie Freedman, thinking, "Oh, he's not the big name that Maldini would be, etc." Well, you look at what he's done. That's where you build your CV. You look at what you've done, and Dougie Freedman has done an incredible job bringing players into Crystal Palace, and those players have been brought on by the club. So Newcastle have very much a bigger budget in the training facility and bring players on than what Palace do. So, who's to say we can't find the next Elise, the next Eze, or, one of those type players. So for me, I think it's very bright. It's a very bright decision if they do bring Dougie Freedman in, and it looks like we're going to. But, there was a newspaper report today saying that Newcastle will listen to offers for Miggy in the summer. I don't think that's much of a surprise, to be honest. I think Miggy will leave. And they're talking about Saudi, Billy, which I find very interesting. I mean, can you see him going to Saudi? Because I thought maybe the MLS, maybe even going back to Atlanta United might have been the move for him. But obviously, if a Saudi team comes in, we're talking probably getting a bit more money for him than maybe we would if he went to the MLS or somewhere. Yeah,
we probably get more money from the Saudi league as well, but so would he. He's going to make himself a very rich man by playing 2 or 3 seasons in Saudi. Makes perfect sense for Mickey to go there. Still plays international football and make a lot of money in the process. So yeah, I think Saudi's the place I'll probably go to personally.
Well, the report did also say that there may be a couple of Premier League teams interested in him as well because of his experience that he's got in the league. Gareth Bascom, thank you for your membership for 16 months now. Thank you, mate. All these people are attention seekers, end of. That's why we logical people like the Toon Review. No BS, no wannabe journalists. Thank you very much, Gareth. Interesting question from Alex. Who do you and Billy want to come up via the Championship playoffs? He'd say West Brom or Norwich for a change. I mean, for a change, Norwich and West Brom have been like ping pong machines for the last few years. For me, it's got to be Leeds. And, the reason I'm saying Leeds is because I've got quite a few friends who are Leeds fans. I like Leeds as a football club. They remind me very much of ours, very much hardcore supporters, very working class. And listen, the more northern teams that we can get in the Premier League, the better, just to piss the Southerners off as far as I'm concerned. So it's Leeds for me. Billy, I don't know about you.
Yeah, I understand the Leeds bit, but Southampton just so we can get rid of Fraser, really.
Oh dear. Gary Hara, thank you very much for your super chat. He says professional quality content for free. Keep it going, boys. Thank you very much. Now, Billy, question. And this is the big question that's been going around for the last couple of days.
Right.
Who is the man in the helmet?
I think it's Isak.
I do as well. And I think a lot of Newcastle fans do as well. What gives you the impression that it's Isak?
Because I read it. I've actually seen it, but I've read it. Everyone's saying it's Isak, so I think it's him.
Yeah. Is it a new contract announcement, do you think?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, why not? I mean, that's kind of, the rumours are rife about that. Again, we don't know. But there are lots of talks, whispers in the background, the street saying that Isak's about to sign a new contract without a release clause in it as well. So, yeah, it looks like good to me. That's be a fantastic thing if that happened.
Yeah. Listen, I think if it's a new contract, then I think Arsenal fans are going to take an absolute pelting, aren't they? They are going to take an absolute, because the amount of times I go on social media now or anywhere on the bloody internet now, and it's all, Isak's coming to Arsenal. He's too big for Newcastle United. We're a bigger club, all of this garbage. And I think the problem is, Billy, a lot of these Premier League fans, certainly from the cartel clubs, think that Newcastle United are still a selling club. You know, they still think we're under Mike Ashley. We buy these players to sell on, and that's not the case at all. We are very much bringing players in to win things. Now, as usual in football, it's not easy to keep those players at the football club when they play as well as the likes of Isak and Bruno do. They're going to get attention. But I'm sorry, there's bigger clubs out there that these players will probably want to go to in the future than Arsenal. And if Isak does sign a new contract, I will personally be putting a tweet out just with laughter and tag AFC into it because, that's all I can think of to do to them.
Well, it's the reason that this FFP and PSR exists, isn't it? It's the cartel club's idea to kind of keep the clubs that they consider to be lower than the top six to be down, down where they're getting kept down. And so when they do get great players, they can cherry pick them as and when they want to. Unfortunately for them now, we've got owners that are well loaded, the richest owners in the world. And whether we're sailing close to the FFP thing or not, there's always ways and means of getting around of it, increasing revenue, things like that. We're not going to be, we're not a selling club anymore. We've been a selling club in the past on lots of occasions. Yeah. In the 80s, we did it with Waddle and Beardsley and Gascoigne. And we've done it with Mike Ashley as well. Not anymore. Them days are gone. So Arsenal, afraid you're not big enough to take Isak off us. Unless you want to give us Odegaard and maybe 20 million or 50 million on top of that. Yeah, we'll do that maybe.
No, I'd say Odegaard and Saka, Billy. Why not? Why not the two
Saka,
of them? Yeah. We'll swap. Obviously, I don't want to lose Isak. Let's be clear about that. No. But we're talking again in a hypothetical way. Clone Lad makes a good point. With 8 games in 3 days, I expect Wilson and Isak to be managed. I would normally agree with that. However, it's 3 games left of the season. And that's why I think that, it's only if this was mid-season or early in the season, absolutely 100%. But now we're coming to the crunch 3 games where we can finish so much higher than anybody thought, right? Certainly over Christmas. I mean, where were we? Down in 11th or something, Billy? We were down and out. And now we've got a chance of even finish. Look, 5th. If 5th happens, brilliant. But I think 6th is the main goal. We'll just see how Spurs do. However, we've got to take care of our business, okay? That's the main thing. And if we still finish in 6th, I think it's been a remarkable season. So I think Eddie will just tell the players to give everything for the last 3 games. He might manage them. He may well do that. But I think the games are so crucial. And the way we blew Burnley away, once we got used to that formation, I think we can go out again and just Brighton maybe on the beach, Billy, for all we know.
Yeah, they've got nothing to really play for, have they? But again, no pressure on them. They're a good side. They could come and give us trouble. I just think with what we've got at stake, I just think we should want it a little bit more than them. Yeah. And I think we'll work extra hard. And let's be truthful. If we can beat Brighton and then beat Manchester United, we may not need to get anything at Brentford. So they can rest as long as they like, then, can't they? Manchester United have got Arsenal to play and us. We beat them and they lose to Arsenal. Forget them. It's down to Chelsea. I think Chelsea have got one hard game left and one quite easzy one. But...
Well, you say hard game. You never know with Chelsea, do you? Because they've lost some stinkers to this season. I know they're playing well at the minute, and maybe they've found their, Poch has found the right formation. He's got the right, positivity in the team now. But they're still capable of having disasters. And I think that's the thing that sort of keeps me going, that Chelsea may just slip up again. We've got the players coming back. There's a lot of positivity around our club now with the injuries. And I think we can genuinely go for it for the last 3 games. Toon Trader, Ian, thank you very much for your super chat. I bet if it's not Big Joe in the car, like, well, look, I think it's Isak. I really do, and I think there will be a contract announcement. I'm pretty sure of that. Well, I'm not sure, but in my own mind, I think that's what's going to happen. It's interesting because, we've had a lot of people coming out again, Billy, and saying, oh, he signed a new contract. There's no release clause. How the poo do these people know?
How do they? But that's the word on the street, isn't it? I mean, we don't know for sure. But it'd be fantastic if it was. I mean, Isak loves it at Newcastle United. You can see that. He's bought into it like Bruno has, like Joe Linton has, like all the new signings have, really. And be a fantastic kind of way to end the season, wouldn't it? With a new contract sign, it'd be a fantastic way to go into the summer. Really would.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Davis says, Paul, the Toon Review is the one show out of all the local blogs I look forward to. Reasoned, balanced, informative chat and discussions by you, Billy, and Alex, etc., which is what we want to hear. Thank you, Chris. Very kind. Southern Geordie says the man at the helmet is Josh Murphy. I don't think it's Josh Murphy. Dan says it's funny because I work for ABB and no one at work knew we were sponsoring the Toon. I like my company more now, though. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. Another super chat from Andy C83. Thank you very much, bud. Great content, lads. What an end to the season this is going to be. I mean, I can't wait to do the commentaries on the last 3 games, Billy. I mean, I think it's just going to be really exciting. And, Saturday is going to be another one of those games, isn't it? It's just going to be nerves and see how we get going. And then hopefully the lads perform. And then midweek, I mean, it's a fantastic end to the season, to be honest, isn't it? It's, we couldn't have asked for this at Christmas. If we thought we'd be in this position, given all the injuries, especially when, we'd just been tonked by Everton at Goodison Park. I think that was a real low point of the season when we were going through a real struggle.
Yeah.
But we've got to give Eddie and the lads credit. They have responded.
Yeah, 100%. It's not been the same old. He's definitely changed things up a little bit. And horses for courses, played different teams for different games, So when we played Wolves at home, we played on the counter at home, worked the treat. Burnley last week was another example of it. Outstanding bit of management there. Yeah, I think Eddie's actually improved in the past few months. Let's be honest. January time, I wanted him out. Simple as that. Yeah. When I saw what I perceived him to be waving the white flag at Stamford Bridge, that was it for me. I'd kind of signed off from him. But you're never going to be sacked in January. But I wanted him out at the end of the season, no matter what. But what he's done the past few weeks has been nothing less than spellbinding, really. And I kind of. Yeah, you get being a bit fickle when it happened at the time, but it was such a serious thing in my head at that time. To wave the white flag when we still had a chance of getting a point out of the game, and let's hope them 2 points that we lost there doesn't cost us in the end, because that was against Chelsea. Remember?
Yeah, I mean, look, George says there we might be. I mean, you mentioned this earlier, Billy. We could be 5 points clear of Manchester United by the time we go to Old Trafford. So, we were calling that game. The possible game to decide who finishes 6th. It's not like that at all. I think Arsenal will absolutely blitz Manchester United. I don't think Man United will not live with the pace of Arsenal, certainly at the top end of the field, given Manchester United's defence. So, it's all about us. It really is. It's all about us. But I mean, you know what? Going back to the Isak thing, Billy, if he has signed a new deal, it's a massive bonus for us. Not only for Newcastle, but to attract other players to the club as well. If other players around Europe or around the world can see the likes of Bruno, the likes of Isak staying at the club when they've been highly, because we know footballers talk to each other, we know that goes on, but they'll also see these huge media reports linking them left, right, and centre with other clubs, and then suddenly they sign new deals at their current club. It's a massive pulling power for Newcastle to say, right, these are the players we've already got. Come and play with these and let's win something.
100%. Yeah, he's at the minute, to me, he's one of the top strikers in Europe. So it'll be a massive statement if we can keep hold of him and get the Wolves away from the door where he's concerned. Same with Bruno. He's a world-class elite midfielder. And they're the spine of the team, with Botman at the back. When he gets back, that spine is a world-class spine. And players will see that and think, well, they're not far away. They finished 4th last season. They finished 6th this season with having half a squad out for most of it. So what can they do with a full squad and an improved squad? We've got Tonali to come back as well. Players of a certain kind of quality will want to come in and maybe push us towards higher levels and maybe even trophies at that higher level. So, and whoever does win a trophy here first, they're going to be remembered forever, aren't they? It's been that long. They're going to be legends on that day, So it's something to look forward to be remembered in history, because anyone that wins a trophy at Newcastle, the first team to do it, they'll be forever remembered as the team that broke the hoodoo. And of course, the ambition of winning things and playing alongside world-class players that will progress, to their mind, their international career at the same time. So it's win-win for us.
Yeah. Now, Lloyd Kelly, Billy. Again, I've seen videos done today saying, Lloyd Kelly's agreed to join us. It's a brilliant free transfer. I've then read a report saying that Newcastle United have denied this, and that apparently their preferred option would be Tosun at Fulham rather than Lloyd Kelly. So again, putting information like that out before the club of this is what I mean. Let's wait till Newcastle United announce it. If we have agreed a deal with Lloyd Kelly, brilliant. But just wait until the club have announced it before we go telling the world, because it's pointless. Because some media reports are now saying that Newcastle United have denied this, that there is no agreement in place for Lloyd Kelly. They're not denying that any discussions took place, because I think that's common knowledge. However, a lot of places are saying that Tosun at Fulham is their preferred centre-back target. So, we don't know anything until the club announce it.
I don't see any reason why we don't take both of them. They're both free agents.
Absolutely.
One plays right, one plays left. We need depth at left because of Botman's injury. It'd be a massive mistake to go into the season. This is assuming that Paul Dummett doesn't stay next year. With that, just Dan Burn as a left-sided centre-half, it'd be a massive mistake doing that. We've been on the arse doing that before, having no cover at certain positions. And then you've got Fabian Schär and Jamal Lascelles injured. Remember, he's not out till Christmas, so another right-sided centre-half and a good one at that. Tosun is an excellent player. The two of them together would be, it's a no-brainer.
Well, exactly. I think the problem is a lot of people think Lloyd Kelly's a kid. I think he's 25, isn't he? So he's not, but he's got good experience. And I think, look, we have to trust Eddie Howe, and we have to trust the Newcastle management that they're going to get the right players in the summer, and they are going to learn from what happened with squad issues this season and put it right next. We know that there's going to be an internal assessment of what's gone on the medical side of things, which, is a good thing, because something has clearly gone wrong there. Communications have been a problem, and we've even had that problem come out in communications when people, talk about the injuries, like Eddie Howe does when he's doing his press conference. He'll say that there's, he's got one opinion from one doctor and then another from a different one, and everybody's running in different directions as to what the injuries are. We've seen players come back way too early from injury, going back on the pitch, getting injured within minutes of coming back. So that's all got to be assessed and put right for next season. But I trust them. I trust them to do that, because if something's going wrong, then these people will put it right. Simple as. And, we've got to give them, it won't happen overnight though, Billy, because things like that have got to take time.
Well, this season, I think when we look back in 5, 6, 10 years' time, we'll look at this season as maybe the most crucial one of our history, because we've got through this season with the potential of even now finishing fifth in the table, despite having half a squad out for most of it. It's been, and that could be the catalyst for a massive springboard for next season and the seasons after that.
100%.
I really do believe that the adversity we've suffered this year will stand us in great stead in future seasons. Yeah. Because it's never going to be as bad as this again. It can't be. You have to be a complete. And it's been a freak this season. For that to happen twice in 2 seasons or 3 seasons.
You couldn't write a script for what's happened this season, could you?
I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. No. And I think this season will be the most crucial, maybe of Eddie Howe's Newcastle career, and maybe of Newcastle United as a club under this takeover. Really, I do. We might not finish fourth like we did last season. But this season we've had adversity in abundance, and we've got through it. So in future, it will stand us in great stead. It really will.
Yeah. Tristan makes a point there about agreeing contracts until July the 1st, as it's an English transfer. Yeah, look, I think they were talking about something like a verbal agreement in place or something like that. And that's what makes me take that with a pinch of salt. The fact that people are saying, oh, a verbal agreement has definitely been made. But then you see other reports saying that Newcastle have denied it. So Newcastle United, as a football club, have come out and said nothing about Lloyd Kelly. Absolutely zip. So, when they do, then we'll talk about it. We can say as fans, would we have him at the club, or if we bring him in on a free transfer, like Billy said earlier, him and Tosun, bring them both in. Free transfers, we're saving a fortune. You can pay them a little bit more signing on. You can pay them a bit more wages to get them through the door. It's a no-brainer. And the fact that that is a position where we need improving, and we're bringing in two very, very good centre-backs for next season. And then you can put your money elsewhere. 60 million for Elisa, for instance, or 45 million pound for Sheshko. It's we will see what happens. The summer's going to be very interesting, though. Well, Stan clearly likes Laura Woods. Thank you for that, Stan.
Don't we all?
C15 says Isak was clinical. Tosun looks to be great for a age, and 6'5", smooth on the ball. A Man City Youth Academy player. Yeah, he was. So he's come through the ranks, and he does. We said that when we played Fulham. I mean, the two of the centre backs looked very accomplished, to be honest. And but the fact that he's free, I think, is just it's just a no-brainer. The problem is with Lloyd Kelly is injuries, and I've seen a lot of comments already about that. On my recorded videos earlier on the week, a lot of people were stating about his injuries, and that may be a problem. He has had injuries. Would that concern you, Billy?
Not when it's for free, no. I mean, the contract that he gets will surely be kind of linked to his injury record. I mean, not as much as a paper play, but it certainly won't be as much as someone that's more reliable that plays 30 games a season would get. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
We shall see. We shall definitely see. He's an excellent player. He's versatile as well. But yeah, we shall see. Hopefully his injury troubles are past him now, and he can get back to playing. He looked good against us playing as left back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Down at the Vitality. Is it the Vitality Stadium they play at?
Absolutely. Toon Gamer says Tosun wants 100 grand a week, and Kelly wants 120 to 130. Right, but where's that come from, Toon Gamer? Who said that? Because media may report that, but that's not necessarily correct. Look, maybe they do, and maybe that because the free transfers, Newcastle can afford to certainly pay Tosun 100 grand a week if they think he's worth it. If they don't think he's worth 100 grand a week, they won't offer that. But this is where you've got to just pull away from media reports and think, right? We don't know for certain what these players want. It's hearsay, it's media say. We don't know, and we never will until they sign a contract. That's when we'll find out.
I would think that Tosun would actually probably want more than Kelly, if I'm perfectly honest. I think Tosun has played for under 21s. I'm not sure Kelly has. So, personally, I think Tosun's a better player.
Anthony's talking about bringing maybe Che Adams in available on a free. Not a chance for me. I don't think he's up to that. Look, I know what you're saying. Maybe a backup striker to Isak and Wilson. But I think we'll actually be looking for probably Wilson to be the backup striker to Isak and other next season, if Callum Wilson does indeed stay at the club. But he made an interesting interview earlier on in the week, Billy, when he was asked about his future. I think it was after the Burnley game, of course, and he said that he made a statement. Well, it wasn't actually. It was probably Monday. I think I did the show saying he'd done an interview, and he said that he was asked about his future, and he said, look, he's only concentrating on these next 3 games. There are massive 3 games for Newcastle United. However, he'll go away in the summer. He didn't mention England or anything like that. He just said go away in the summer, and he's contracted to Newcastle United, so he will turn up for pre-season. Now, I got the feeling there that he's not 100% saying, I'm coming back. But that'll be interesting to see if we do get any offers for Callum Wilson, because that's what's going to be dependent. Newcastle, I think he's got a year left on his deal, Billy. So Newcastle United he'll be a Newcastle United player if there's no offers come in. So it's all dependent on if any decent offers come in.
If we got £20 million offer for Callum Wilson, I'd sell him.
I think 20 million would be fine. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
then you can kind of spend 60 million with the amortization, 100 million over 5 years on maybe 2 strikers and there's your 3 strikers.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense for me. Give them 5-year contracts and amortise over 5 years, and you haven't gone over your FFP. Callum Wilson's nearly 32, or he's 32. He's had injury problems. He's definitely over the top. If we could sell him for 20 million, amortise that money over 5 years, and then buy 2 £50 million players as strikers or wherever we want to play them. I mean, Saudi might play 20 million for Callum Wilson. They might do. Who knows?
Well, I mean, Atletico Madrid may take him out. You know, they still may be interested in him, especially if he finishes the season strongly. David says Che Adams as a third striker would be good. He's fast and works hard.
No thanks.
Right. I don't think Che Adams is fast, for one. I've seen him play a lot, and I don't think he's blessed with outright pace. He's quick off the mark, but he's not exactly. But listen, we need to get away from this works hard, right? Because this is what a lot of people have been saying about Miggy for years. Oh, well, yes, but he works hard, right? We need quality. We need absolute quality coming in. If Newcastle United are to get where they want and be that elite football side, we need elite players. Yes, you can't get a squad full of elite players, but you need quality to replace those elite players if something happens with injuries. Che Adams is not one of those. He's not clinical enough. His goal-scoring record will prove that. However, just because he works hard, that does not get him into the side for me. You've got to have the quality there as well, Billy. And that's where the agenda needs to change for players coming into Newcastle, because I think gone are the days now where we turn around and say, yeah, but he works hard, when there's no final third product.
Well, Che Adams did score a great goal against us last year in the semi-final, didn't he? It was a great finish.
He did, yeah.
But generally, he couldn't finish a fun-sized Milky Way after fasting for a week. He's a bloody awful striker. Misses the target from no distance at all. Okay, he runs around a bit. That's not enough for me. You've got to be better than that. And you've got to remember that we're not a bottom of the table, struggling against relegation Premier League side anymore. That's a Mike Ashley signing.
And as Stephen says there, he's on the bench most of the time. You know, I mean, even Adam Armstrong is picked ahead of him. And that's no disrespect to Adam Armstrong, but he's, you know, if you can't get in the starting lineup for Southampton, why would Newcastle take him, even as a third striker? It wouldn't make any sense at all. But, you know, fair enough to your opinions. You know, we value all your opinions on here. It's interesting to see people's different names. And TJ, thank you. I don't often comment, but have to say that you guys, including Sam and Alex, when they're on, are so accurate and informed. Thank you. Well, we try our best. That's all we can do, TJ, is try our best and keep bringing the quality to you guys. And hopefully you've enjoyed the shows, which you seem to do. And that's what it's all about. The problem is I wouldn't dream of bullshitting anybody, Billy. That's the thing. Just to get people to watch. I mean, you know, if you don't like the content, you don't like it. It's as simple as that. But I think, you know, bullshitting people just to get views, I think is just wrong. It's just bang wrong. You know, I mean, look what that incident with Bruno and the barbecue last year. Look at the furore that came from a very little channel, right? A very tiny little channel, who, you know, made this comment about being in the know and thinking that, you know, Bruno had met with Barcelona's representatives at a barbecue, and it spread like wildfire, and they ended up getting absolute hammer for it because it was just a load of tosh. And
yeah,
Bruno got to hear about it this summer.
Even Bruno got to hear about it. You know, and it kind of unsettled him, which is, I mean, surely a Newcastle United fan channel wouldn't want to be doing that, but that's what actually happened. Yeah, it was just dreadful. It was just absolutely full of chorizo. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Wacky says you could say a striker isn't good enough, but he's not being coached by Eddie and his team, so you never know. That's very true, I think. But I think Che Adams has been around a long time now, and I think if he was going to be prolific, you know, he would be. Let's be honest. He wouldn't excite me. I want to see exciting signings in the summer. I want to see players coming through the door who are going to make me and all of you guys sit up and go, yes, that's a brilliant signing. Because, you know, what I said the other day is whether we get Elise or not, or whether we get Sesko or not, it's the fact that we are now in the sentence. have been linked with these players. You know, you remember when we were linked with the good old Hamza Chowdhuries of the world and real bargain basement footballers. And now you see Newcastle United in a lot of reports linked with some absolute quality footballers. You know, we've got to be happy with that, guys, that we're now in the reckoning or in the running to sign these players. And I think that's what the cartel club fans don't understand, is that they still look at Newcastle United. They've got no chance of signing these players. But we have. We're very much in the race to sign these players. And if Manchester United finish 8th in the table, why would the elite players want to go to Manchester United again with no European football and a club that's on the decline? It's got ownership issues. It's all over the place. They've got all the team up for sale. They're in a right mess. What elite players will want to go there? That's what the Man United fans don't understand. But we, as fans and proper fans and sensible fans looking from the outside in, think, you're deluded. If you think you're going to sign world-class people to your club when you're finishing below, you know, nearly mid-table in the Premier League and you've got no European football, what aspirations does that look like? Your management are arguing with each other. You can't get a DOF in. You can't. Your players are all up for sale. It's a monumental mess at Old Trafford. That's why Newcastle have the pulling power, because they'll be able to talk to players and say, look, yeah, we haven't, or we're not in the Champions League this season. We were last season. Look at what's happened to the injuries this season. We still finished in a European place. We are still in Europe. We can still bring European class players through the door. We can still, you know, have that pulling power that I don't think these clubs understand that Newcastle have. We have the money in the background as well. So there's a lot going for us, Billy.
100%. I mean, Manchester United, if they don't qualify for Europe, I think they've got some financial issues now. Otherwise, they'd have paid the money for Dan Ashworth weeks ago, wouldn't they? Months ago. So there's definitely financial issues there. The ground's an absolute tip. It needs modernising. They're begging money to tax-free money to buy a stadium. I'm not sure Mr. Ratcliffe has the kind of financial pulling power that Manchester United fans believed he had.
I think he's full of shit, Billy, if you ask me. I genuinely do.
And, okay, Chelsea didn't qualify for Europe and they still brought quality players in, but they were throwing away money like confetti.
Exactly.
Manchester United can't. Not now. We perceive they can't because they've been very tight with the way they could have paid for Dan Ashworth months ago. I just said. It's, who cares? Great. They drop further and further and further and further. It's not a problem to us.
I mean, I've seen a report, Billy, come out earlier. I think it was even yesterday, that it was announced that Man United are the biggest club in the world for, you know, I think, was it income or some kind of money situation? But they're also billions in debt. So as soon as they see, you know, oh, we are this, the fans get on YouTube, they get on social media and they think, we're bigger than everybody else. They are deluded. Really deluded, and if you know they've got massive problems before they can even think about bringing world-class players in or moving up the table. They've got a lot to sort out at that football club, and for me, it's sudden hilarious. Steve Smith, welcome to Members Club. Thank you for your support, Steve. Really, really do appreciate it. Brian says we need to find the next Asprilla. I mean, I think Asprilla was a one-off, to be honest. I don't think there'll ever be another Asprilla.
Nobody like you around.
You what, Billy?
There's nobody like him around, and that hasn't been before, and hasn't been since.
I mean, the man was a nut job. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he's not now. I've heard a few interviews. He's not now, but when he played for us, the baggage that went with Asprilla was unbelievable. I mean, you're talking about him carrying weapons and all of this kind of stuff. He was an absolute mad hatter, but his football was bloody unbelievable.
I mean, he carried a weapon in his shorts by all accounts. But
well, yeah, he used that a lot in Newcastle, apparently. Jandal says, I'm just waiting for Newcastle Adidas special line of clothes and trainers. Well, the Adidas store is well underway at St. James's Park. I don't know whether you've seen photos of that, Billy, but it's under construction. So I'm not sure what's going to happen to the old Castor shop. Burn it, if you ask me. I see they've just announced Castor just announced a partnership with Burnley. When I seen that on Twitter, I took a look at the comments, and the amount of Newcastle fans saying, oh, good luck and all of that was absolutely hilarious. Because they'd made a quote, Castor, about bringing the next generation of kit supplies and all of this sort of stuff. And yeah, if you want your badge reversed round the wrong way, or the spelling wrong, or no sponsor on your shirt, or That kind of thing. Absolutely enjoy Castore, because we certainly haven't. Definitely not. Claire says we complain about Target, but they pay Rashford 300 grand a week. I mean, Rashford, don't get me started. Absolute mental.
The thing is about Rashford is he'll sign a new contract. He signed it last year. Since then, he's been awful. And when his next contract's due again, he'll start playing again. And everyone will say, oh, what a player Rashford is. It's a sort of
he has those one-off games, and then he's back. They'll say, oh, he can do a fabulous job for England in the Euros. No, he can't.
No, he stays injured, because he should be in the England squad for that European Championships. No way.
No, he hasn't deserved that. Not a chance. No. But there you go. That is the show done and dusted, guys. It's been a very different show tonight, because we've done many subjects, just a general news show. So I hope you've enjoyed that kind of format tonight. Something a bit different, where we just talk about the general news, and we have a chat with you guys about what you've said in the comments and things like that. I think it's been a great show. I've really enjoyed doing that, Billy. So it's been fabulous. We're back tomorrow night, 7:00, of course, with the match preview, the big one against Brighton. Me and Billy will be with you for that one. I am going to try and get some stats up. I'm going to try and use FB Ref. I'm going to try and get the potential lineups and injuries and things like that. So we'll still try and bring the graphics to you. It may be a walking disaster, but we will see. This is the Toon Review, remember, so absolutely anything can happen. But I hope you've enjoyed the show, guys. Keep your eyes open for a daily news show as well tomorrow. But thank you very much to all the super chatters and new members. Mods, thank you again. Billy, thank you very much for your company this evening. And thank you to you guys, as usual, out there. You've been absolutely fantastic. 1,300 tonight, which is incredible. I keep saying that. It just seems to go up. It blows my mind when I see the viewing figures. It really does. But that is down to you guys. And we really do appreciate it. So thank you very much for all your support. And welcome to all the new subscribers as well. We'll see you again and do it all again tomorrow. But enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. From us, take care.
How are the lads and lasses?
Come back and check out the